Welcome back, True Seeker. September 14th, 2018. We're looking at a current headline from Fox News. It reads Hurricane Florence moving slowly but wreaking havoc across Carolinas. And notice how they emphasize wreaking havoc. Anytime the media emphasizes a phrase, there's a secret behind it. That secret is the knowledge of Gematria, which comes from Kabbalah. Kabbalah with the core belief that God created the world by merging the letter with the number. That's why in Genesis, the beginning of the Bible, God speaks the world into existence over numbered days. Also from Genesis is where there's the biblical flood. And I'm going to show you how this comes together. Wreaking havoc with the most simple cipher using the alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, up to Z, the 26 letters, 26. Wreaking havoc sums to 137, just like in the beginning sums to 137. And what 137 is the 33rd prime number. And this storm made landfall on the 33rd parallel earlier today. In the next most simple cipher, Genesis equals 33. Genesis means in the beginning 137, 137 the 33rd prime. The way this cipher works is you just take the alphabetic order plus the rules of numerology. G's the 7th letter, so G's 7. E's the 5th letter, so E's 5. N's the 14th letter. The numerology of 14 is 1 plus 4 is 5, so N is 5. E's 5. S is 1 because the numerology of S, the 19th letter, is 1 plus 9 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. You make each letter a single digit number. I is 9. S breaks down to 1. Genesis, 33. Storm on the 33rd parallel, wreaking havoc by the numbers. It gets worse. Myrtle Beach, where this storm made landfall, Myrtle Beach is on the 33rd parallel and the 78th meridian. And look at the gematria of Genesis. Genesis with the alphabetic order 78, Genesis with the alphabetic order and rules of numerology 33. Coming back up to 137, I want to remind you that in Hebrew, Kabbalah equals 137. Again, Kabbalah is where this practice of coding numbers and words comes from. For another 33 that pertains to the story, Noah's Ark 33. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. They're saying this storm, it's supposed to rain up to 40 inches. Up to 40 inches of rain expected. Again, the storm began flooding the Carolinas yesterday, September 13th, the day we said to watch out for on September 5th when the news was announced. September 13th, 18 was a date with 40 numerology. Again, in Gematria, the flood 40, Old Testament 40, United States 40, with the alphabetic order, US 40. When you flip the alphabetic order around and you make Z1 and you count up to A is 26, USA is 40. In Jewish Gematria, United States of America sums to 929, like how there's 929 chapters in the Old Testament. Florence, the name of the storm, also has Gematria of 39 in the base cipher, like how there's 39 books in the Old Testament. Made landing near Myrtle Beach, which has 39 Gematria in the septenary cipher. But again, coming back to this storm hitting on the 33rd parallel, landfall, Noah's Ark 33, Good Book 33, Bible 33. And in case you're new here, these two ciphers right here, Good Book and Bible, all you do is you just flip the alphabetic order around, you make Z1, count up to A is 26, and use the rules of numerology. Bible and Good Book, both 33, spiritual number. Old world belief, Kundalini, spiritual ascension happens up to 33 vertebrae of the human being. Many people will tell you the Bible is old world knowledge reinterpreted. And the old world knowledge is about how spiritual enlightenment's within, like your spine and the 33 vertebrae. The other thing about today, it making landfall today, September 14th, and bringing more devastating flooding and rainfall, is the date can be written 14/9 like 149, which is the 35th prime number, the 35th prime. Elohim has Gematria of 35. Elohim, name of God from the Old Testament. Flooding also has the Gematria of 35. Also, if you use the exceptions in the base cipher. Myrtle Beach is 95, like how well, I was typing too fast. Hurricane Florence is 95. I'll just do it again. We talked about this on September 5th. Hurricane Florence was announced September 5th. And just write it here. These are our 4 base ciphers, alphabetic order, forwards and backwards, and the rules of numerology. Hurricane Florence 95, announced on September 5th. And remember, the storm formed August 31st, 2018. 8 plus 31 is 39. Florence 39. 8 plus 31 plus 20 plus 18 is 77. They said on September 5th it was North Carolina that was right in the possible projection of the storm. It formed on a date with 77 numerology. What's interesting is Donald Trump was in North Carolina August 31st, that same day. You know, the man from D.C., the land of 77 on the 77th meridian. Also, as we talked about, they referred to this storm as a Mike Tyson punch. Notice North Carolina is also 67. Just covered this the other day. They called this storm a Mike Tyson punch 67. And today, September 14th, is Mike Tyson's 77th day of being 52 years old. Hurricane 52, flood 52. You know, all things we've already covered. But what are the odds? Myrtle Beach, look how it lines up with Hurricane Florence when spelled correctly. The same letters are there, so it doesn't make a difference. I'll fix that in the blog post later. Notice Myrtle Beach is also 59. 95, 59 reflections of each other. September 5th can be written 5/9 or 9/5. Again, the day they announced the storm and the threat it posed to North Carolina. East Coast has that Gematria 59 as well. Storm's a threat to a large amount of the East Coast. And as I wrote about in my book, Letters and Numbers, that's funny, somebody just picked it up as I said that. One of the later chapters is on weather warfare and how all throughout history, these biblical riddles have been encoded into these stories, and the storms are manipulated so that all the details fit these perfect patterns. Again and again, it's clockwork year after year. Just like how I wrote about in the book. Since 1952, world militaries have admitted to knowing how to create flash flooding to impact their enemies. You know, 52, it's not an accident that they admitted it for the first time in that year, and it makes you wonder when they first figured it out, you know. Had to be during the time of flight, which wasn't too much before that. And speaking of the flight, where are the Wright brothers from? You know, North Carolina's been impacted by probably more flooding than, or the Carolinas period have probably been impacted by more flooding than any other region in this nation. So, look at the path of the storm here. The storm was going like this, and then all of a sudden it dipped down so it could come across the 33rd parallel and then back up. I mean, what made it do that? You know? That's the weather modification. That's the sophisticated technology. That's the cloud seeding. That's HARP. That's all the technology that's been admitted to us over the years and it being used against us. Why? Again, the reason why is because the people who rule over us, known as the banksters who control the central banks, they make big money anytime there's a disaster because then they have to lend to the governments, and then the governments and taxpayers have to pay back with big interest, which is all profit. And these same banksters rule these mega corporations that have taken over the nation. You know, how much money do you think Home Depot's made in the last hour? How much money do you think Kroger made, you know, in the last hour, the last days, in the time of this panic ever since September 5th? All these big companies, you know, insurance companies, just all of it. We live under a financial racket. You know, money rules all. Destroy and rebuild, it's big business. So is religion, you know. The only people who don't have to pay taxes in this world, churches and the investor class. You know, they just get to make money off all their investments and pay no taxes on it. Taxes, those are for the working slaves, known as the Goyim in the Talmud. You know, Guy that calls into my radio show every Wednesday, he says we need to start the Goyim Defense League, and he's right on. He's right on. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.